Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. Your daily dose of geek news, product views, and answers that you can use, like an answer to the question, what will be our daughter Jedi's first Lego set? I wasn't really sure what it was going to be, but then, just yesterday, and you'll see this being kind of unboxed, well, not really removing the pieces from the box, but I mean, as we received the gift from Connor Curtin, who is 12 years old, and he's really happy that Jedi is now with us, and said that Jedi cannot build this at her age, but when she's old enough, it will be waiting for her. Batman. A Batman Duplo Lego set with Catwoman as well. So Batman and Catwoman are included. Those will be her first, I wouldn't call Duplo figures minifigures, but this is nice. I really appreciate it. That's great. I love it. Love it, and I'm sure Jedi will love it as well. We'll have to acclimate her to the whole Batman scenario. Oh, and speaking of, there is a trailer for a cartoon coming out in 2015 for the Justice League Throne of Atlantis. The trailer is online. Apparently, people who love the Justice League are happy about it, especially if you're a fan of Aquaman. Now, I'm always reminded of Raj's impression of Aquaman, or talking about Aquaman when he dressed up as Aquaman in The Big Bang Theory. Every time someone says Aquaman, that's just in my head, Aquaman. So apparently he takes a leading role in Justice League, the Throne of Atlantis movie, or cartoon, that'll be coming out next year. I've got a link for that trailer in this video's description. We have started a brand new month, but the same classic Super Gnomies, 927 of them as of today. We're not sure if everybody's pledge has gone through, but we do appreciate the support as you can give it. It allows me to do things like spend more time with you. Like last night, we had a Hangout. It ended up being about 90 minutes long. Talked about the iPhone. I talked about Microsoft. I talked about things that people like hearing about, generally speaking. Just kind of had fun hanging out with people. I'm trying to figure out how to make those live Hangouts happen more consistently on a regular basis. Certainly at least once a month for the bonuses that come for the Super Gnomies. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody who's tuned in live today. And if you couldn't tune in live, just become one of the Super Gnomies right now. It's really easy to do. This broadcast is also brought to you by Citrix, once again. Managing your IT's support in your company, your needs as an IT support person can be challenging, especially when you have remote or mobile employees. That's why I highly recommend Citrix GoToAssist, the #1 global market leader in remote support. It's easy to use, cloud-based, and a remote support solution that allows you and your IT team, did not know if you heard the baby cry, to solve problems faster. And if you sign up for GoToAssist before October 10th, it's in a few days, you'll get another Citrix product of your choice free for 6 months. And they've got how many products now Citrix has? I mean, if you do anything in the world of technology and software and support, or just software in general, or need something with software as a service, Citrix is the industry leader as far as I'm concerned, because I use GoToMeeting a lot. This is GoToAssist I'm talking about, but GoToMeeting is a great way of connecting with people remotely instead of driving across town and meeting in person. How old school. Well, GoToAssist remote support lets you provide live and unattended remote support to any computer or mobile device. Screen share to diagnose and fix problems faster and more effectively, and use GoToAssist apps to easily deliver support anytime, anywhere. If you work in IT, I want you to try GoToAssist. It's easy to do. Sign up for GoToAssist today and get another Citrix tool free for 6 months. Visit GoToAssist.com and get started, but do not wait. The special offer ends October 10th. Again, visit GoToAssist.com and sign up to receive this special offer today. Lotus 123, making a segue here, is apparently no more. Lotus 123, one of the first spread, if not the, VisiCalc. Seemingly, I have a copy of VisiCalc on a 5 1/4 inch floppy disk. Old school. Never used it. Never really did. Didn't really get into the whole spreadsheet thing like my dad did. Him like kind of loving to play with numbers. He loves his spreadsheets. Can't pry him away from his spreadsheets. But Lotus 123 is no more. If I did use Lotus 123, I can't remember. So long ago. It's going away. It's kind of sad. It's kind of an end of an era. I've seen so many classics disappear. Like Yahoo the other day, basically sunsetting the directory that made Yahoo what Yahoo is. It made him famous. It's going away. Lotus 123 going away. I guess I have a soft spot in my heart. A spot in my heart. Can I say soft spot in my heart? Am I mixing metaphors? Soft spot on my head, soft spot in my heart. I've got a spot in my heart for classic software. Sometimes it's not really something that I'm going to miss all that much because I didn't use Lotus 123. In fact, the most extensive use I have ever received with a Lotus was with Lotus Notes, which was an absolute nightmare. Oh my god! Even back in the day, like the day and age of like Windows 2000 and Windows Millennium Edition, Windows 95, Lotus Notes. I'm sorry, yeah, Lotus Notes, clunky, fugly. Just, I mean, it was. There are very few programs that can basically give me, insight, spur on my gag reflex. Ugh. Lotus Notes. Ugh. I figured out how to forward all the messages I got in Lotus Notes to a Pop3 account back in the day. Ugh. Oh, the worst. But I don't know if Lotus 123 evolved in terms of a user interface, but as I said, it's an end of an era. The beginning of a new one, though, like drones. Every day I log into Facebook and I see at least 1 or 2 new drone videos. Drones are hot. And if you want a drone of your own, we've got a 46% off. That's a discount, pretty steep discount for the Extreme Micro Drone 2.0 with aerial camera. You want to get started in drones and flying around and recording things. You can spend top dollar if you want. I mean, there are certainly things that are worth top dollar. But if you want to get started and save 46%, give it a shot. Deals.LockerGnome.com. Every day, new deal, tons of deals for you. Saving money on hardware, software, and sometimes services, education, all across the board just for you. You don't need to be a nerd to really appreciate what we've put together for you. Now, on that front, talking about hardware, 3D printing. Every week, I seem to see at least one new crowdfunded project that is keen on jump-starting a 3D printer. Cool. I think that's nice to see. 3D printing, kind of catch on. And speaking of, I still have to find out how Barnacle Nerdgasm, who may be coming over this weekend for a live geek out, as well as a couple of surprise guests, he's got a 3D sculpt of his head somehow, his cartoon head. I'm like, what? I'm like, if he did that, man, Jerry's got skill, but if he did that, he's really got skill. I ended up retweeting it from my primary Twitter account earlier today. Anyway, a new 3D printer seemingly needing to be, or wanting to be, crowdfunded every week. I mean, you guys, you feel me? Do you guys, oh, look, it's a new 3D printer that wants to come into existence. Arduino, the same, the types of modular components that you could assemble to create something new. Arduino, a brand that you may know, love, and trust, or at least you know of, or you should if you've played in the world of hardware and open source for any amount of time. They're building a sub $1,000 3D printer. They're going to go ahead and jump in. Who knows how it's going to work, how well it's going to work, but the fact that it's Arduino and they have modular support, an experience with dealing with hardware, that gives me a lot of confidence that they could pull it off. I mean, not just because of cost. I mean, yes, they're very, very affordable 3D printers, but I guess I haven't jumped in yet because there really hasn't been one that's really captured my imagination. And I know they're the hot thing, but I just I'm not a builder. I'm not a maker. It's fascinating to me, but at a completely different level, and I haven't found a 3D printer that really works for me yet. And I've got my eyes open. I'm always interested in taking a look at anything that comes down the pike. But this looks like it might be something that would be worth your attention as well. Arduino building a sub $1,000 3D printer. I guess they'll have 2 editions. One will kind of be ready to go, and then there'll be one for $800, so a little cheaper than $1,000 that you can assemble on your own. So you have a chance to build your own or get something handed to you. Something that I kind of helped build on my own. You want to see? Oh, that's good. That's good. We got rid of some gas. Hey, Jedi. Oh. So you had fun yesterday with me, didn't you? She did. I think everyone had fun yesterday. Oh, so it got the hiccups? Oh, there we go. There you go. Live on the internet. Your dad smells like spinach and cheese. Yes.
She just ate.
Oh, well, she's got a couple of good burpees out of her.
I know.
That's good. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in yesterday during TLDR when I was, what do I say? Just hanging out with Jedi, because I can't say babysitting. You know, you're a baby and I'm sitting. Can't say that, because some people get really upset about that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You see that look on her face? She's like... So, anyway, that was a lot of fun. I ended up asking John Prosser to clip out a segment from yesterday's TLDR and post it to my Facebook page. If you didn't have a chance to watch yesterday's TLDR, that's the segment to watch, and you can view that on Facebook. Okay, baby. I guess I'm going to hold her then. Sure. Office. No. I'm good right now. I mean, I'm okay until she starts getting really fussy because she's kind of hiccupy. Office, Microsoft Office. They're taking an approach of Office 365, or basically selling a subscription. Really? Bored already? Okay, I'm just going to roll on. Sway. That's sway.com. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm wearing the Stormtrooper t-shirt. We're going to dress up like Stormtroopers this year for Halloween. What do you think? I'll be the big trooper. I'll be the daddy trooper. You can be the baby trooper. You won't have to put on a helmet, though. Okay. Maybe she doesn't want to be a trooper. No, it'll be good. It'll be good. Mommy will be a trooper, too.
It might be the breeze.
Oh, yeah. It does get cool in here. Here we go, baby.
Are you cold?
She might be cold. And I like being cold. I'm not sure about the baby. You got her? Okay.
Are we sure we'll meet her little OOTD?
I don't think this group of people cares about her OOTD, but sure. See, there's the Stormtrooper. I'd have it on, like, without the hoodie. It's just I would just blow everybody out with my extreme whiteness of the t-shirt. Sway.com. A part of Microsoft Office, or soon to be a part of Microsoft Office. I think, from a distance, because you can sign up for a preview. From a distance, it looks as though Sway is going to be a way for you to present your ideas in a different way. Kind of like the way PowerPoint should have evolved. Theoretically, haven't had a chance to use it, assuming it's going to become a part of the Office 365 experience. This is part of the future direction of Microsoft, going more into services that you can get to from anywhere. Sway.com. I don't know if that's a redirect or a website, but that's what I got out of my browser, sway.com. It's now going to be a part of Microsoft Office. You can give it a shot. You can try it now if you want, or at least sign up for the preview to try it now-ish. Also, my thoughts on Windows 10. And we referred to it yesterday, talked about it yesterday, how Microsoft was announcing it and the things that they seem to be driving home with Windows 10. I have not yet had a chance to use it. There have been several instructions about how to get Windows 10 running in VirtualBox. I, however, am probably going to wait for my initial impressions to wait until Parallels supports it outright. I love Parallels. I mean, not just because I've been able to secure discounts for everybody who wanted to register Parallels, but in terms of performance, I'm all about perf. Like, if you get a fast computer, you want perf. Any software might run, but you want something that, really, really performs well, and Parallels has always come through. So, it wasn't always the case. That absolutely was not always the case. But I'm very happy to know that they will be working on something, and that is the moment I will try Windows 10 inside a virtual machine. Because, yes, I could install it on another, one computer or another, but I'm looking for a clean environment, easy. And then, the moment that I can do that, what I plan on doing is giving you my initial impressions live. Windows 10 initial impressions live, as I experience them. Not just trying it, but I gotta wait until timing works. And so you'll get my initial impressions live of Windows 10. I don't know if anybody else has tried it out there in this community. I know many people have. They signed up for the preview. Pretty easy to do. Microsoft has made it simple. I've already shared my opinions, on the Surface, not to be confused with the Microsoft Surface, of Windows 10. And talked about that at length yesterday, so I'm not going to dive too deeply in that today. In the realm of software, as I reach about the halfway point-ish of this broadcast, and feel free if you're watching live to ask questions, because I will have time to answer them. This presentation for the Super Gnomies, to give those who are at that pledge level credit, will be updated in about 10 to 15 days, because that's usually when some people have gone all the way through for pledge processing. So just stay tuned for that. Richard Wooding's got a MakerBot Replicator 2 at the office. Nice. Mark Evans is watching via the Xbox tonight. Hey, Mark, good to know that the live stream works on an Xbox. Jonathan McConnell asks a question that I answered before knowing that he asked the question. That is pretty funny. That is kind of hilarious. So, who was it? Paul Madera on Twitter. Like I said, I really appreciate when people tag me on Twitter to check out certain things, because usually I will. Sometimes I miss it, and unfortunately, there's a lot of noise on Twitter, and that's sad. But Paul Madera sent a link off to what would be an iOS or an Apple developer's blog titled "It Just Works," and his experience mirrors, I mean, not mirrors mine, his experience with the software, not obviously as a developer, I'm not a developer, but his experience with the software that Apple's been producing mirrors my experience. And we have come to the same conclusion. Apple needs to clean up their act. Like, to quote the blog post, quote, "I just wish that Apple would slow down their breakneck pace and spend the time required to build stable software in their hardware that their hardware so desperately needs." And I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think that if Apple's slipping, it isn't in quote-unquote innovation. I think they're innovating enough. The problem is I think they lack an extreme degree of quality control, and it's going to catch up with them if they don't start changing the way that they release software, the way they manage web apps. It's the stakes have never been higher for them, and it's something that if they're not careful, someone else is going to steal their thunder. And I think it's within the realm of possibility for someone to steal Apple's thunder. There's no company like Apple today, as Apple being a vertical player, every other company seemingly in the space being a horizontal player. And apart from maybe BlackBerry, which you want to talk about comparing apples to oranges there. The problem I see is that they're throwing a lot of stuff out there, and logistically, they're pushing numbers. Tim Cook has done very well from a supply chain management side for the most part. But in terms of QC, I think it's lacking by an extreme degree. And that is the one area that if Apple loses it, I think they're going to lose a lot of people, more so than they've lost in the past to various alternatives, if that makes any sense. Paul, I'm sorry. Thank you, Paul, for referring the link to me. This blog post, I think, dives a little deeper into the nuances of it across the board, from iCloud to iOS to OS X. A lot of unpolishedness. I would prefer Apple over the next year not releasing any new hardware. Believe this or not, no new hardware, but then coming out and saying we've fixed most of the bugs that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to fix, but in exchange for that we couldn't release any new hardware. I'm like, thank you. That's great. Awesome. Thank you. Because what's the point of releasing new hardware if the software's still buggy? There is no point. They need a chief executive quality control officer. I'm just telling you, dude, because some of these bugs that have slipped through are they're asinine. I mean, you expect this from other companies. This is exactly what the blogger, I'm sorry, I missed his name. He goes by Rusty Shelf. On his handle, this is exactly what he was saying. Like, you can't count on Apple anymore. You just don't know what's going to come down the pike, because quality is it's subpar from where it used to be. You may have a decent piece of hardware and engineered very, very well, and design-wise seems to be passable, but it's not where it should be. It really isn't. And I don't know when the last time I saw that from Apple. I really don't. I don't know if that was in the Steve Jobs era or and certainly the mistakes were made even in the Steve Jobs era. No doubt about that. I would never say, though, this would never have happened if Steve Jobs wasn't around. I have a feeling that a lot of the sloppiness would have not happened if Steve Jobs were around, and other things may have been sacrificed because of that. But I honestly believe that without quality control, Apple has... they've got an okay future right now, but you can't. Too many cracks in that dam are going to cause a flood to happen, and I expect better from Apple. I do, and I expect that from any company, but I expect more from Apple because this is what people believe in from a brand perspective and an experience perspective. They've done just well enough, but this is on the heels of potentially Apple Pay coming out later this month, so in about 20 days or so, we should see Apple Pay become available on supported iOS devices. which is fantastic. And in tow will be iOS 8.1. So that's actually kind of nice to know that we're getting a series of bug fixes potentially within a month's time. Now, see, that would actually, that I would appreciate. If I knew I could count on Apple or any company to deliver something on a timely basis that was going to make an experience better for me, that would probably keep me in the ecosystem. For example, let's say they go and come out and they say, well, here's the future of iOS. We plan on releasing a point revision every quarter. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because in a point revision, you might get a new feature. In a point revision, you get bug fixes. You can count on it versus going, well, are we gonna get anything new here, or is it, what's coming? What's gonna happen here? So if they're doing that, then it increases the chances of me wanting to stay in. Not to say that I want more bugs introduced. It's just that I want to know if the bugs are going to be addressed, and B, if it's a product that it doesn't feel like it's just half baked for a year. And that's honestly how I felt with iOS 7, and I had to turn a blind eye to a lot of the sloppiness that was really replete in iOS 7, which is very disappointing in just about every way. But like I said, Apple's got a certain set of experiences in their own sphere, and nobody's even close to mirroring it. It's not just about comparing this iOS device with this Android device. It just doesn't. You could, but that shows you like 25%. That's just an arbitrary percentage. Just shows you a fraction of the general experience that you might get. For example, I walk into the house with this phone, and now I can AirPlay to an Apple TV. That's an experience. Okay, that's great. Or I can do is it called handoff continuity? I don't know what the features. I think it's called handoff. So I've got notes open on my iPad right now, which is great. So on the home screen, if I double tap, I'm in notes. What I should be able to do is, although unless it's not working, I guess okay, it's not working. It was working, but I guess not anymore. Yay us, buggy. The handoff, so I can go from notes on this screen to notes on this screen, and that's kind of nice. It's just when it works, and when it doesn't work, you kind of go, huh? Apple, I'm tired of going, huh, with you. Some people say, Chris, be careful about what you say about Apple, because they'll never invite you to an event that they've never invited you to. They won't send you a review device that they've never sent you before. If I don't call it like I see it, man, I'm just happy to know that another blogger out there feels the same way I do. I'm very, very happy about that. Microsoft, the pendulum swings the other way, says that free Windows, like instead of charging for a license of Windows, a stripped down version of Windows, really, to run on limited systems, I should say, has helped woo 50 new phone and tablet makers. That's awesome. My question is, who are these 50? Do anybody know? Does anybody know who these 50 manufacturers are? That's great. Does anybody know? Who knows who they are? Are we going to see those products? How much are they going to cost? In fact, I've got some thoughts brewing in my head, much like you'd brew coffee or potentially a beer, a good brew. I've been thinking that the what is it going to take for Windows, Microsoft, let's say with Windows 10, to woo Android tablet users who've gone with Android as a tablet experience versus Windows? What is it going to take? So I've got some thoughts. Haven't fleshed them out entirely, though, so I can't Mark Evans says 8.1 seems very stable, updated tonight. Oh, you must be a developer, because right now 8.1 is in beta. So it's a possibility that we'll see 8.1 real soon on our iOS devices. I just want, honestly, the one thing I want, I've got modern hardware. I still see stutter. Stutter used to be a feature of Android, and Google has worked tirelessly to rid the Android experience of stutter. And this is one of the things that I was always happy about with iOS, and then iOS 7 came along and iOS 8. I see so much stutter on the iPad with iOS 8.0.2. Even with iOS 8 outright or 7, is just Stutter. Open the keyboard. Sorry. I'm not... Someone pointed this out. I shouldn't say stutter. I'm not trying to offend people because apparently that's a thing. You know, you can have what they call, I guess, medically speaking, a stutter, and I don't mean to offend by that. It's just the best word that I could find. Jumpiness, jerkiness, jumpiness. I'm trying to get over that. I'm trying to start using that, but like and I'm not, again, I'm not saying that if that's offensive to you. I'm not meaning it offensively. I'm trying to think of a better sound effect to make, you know, I'm not making fun of anybody with a stutter. I just wanted to point that out. Someone pointed that out to me, and I'm sensitive to that. I would never want to make fun of anybody like that. Certainly if it was, you know, something that afflicted them, and I mean, if they felt it was an affliction. So the jerkiness, the jumpiness, it's killing me. So hopefully Apple's gonna go, you know what? We need to fix that. But here's the thing: unless someone's in charge of fixing that, it's not going to get fixed. And I don't think Tim Cook sees it. I don't think Craig Federighi sees it. I don't think Johnny Ive sees it. I don't think anybody sees it, which is really upsetting me. First world problems. First world problems. Here's something I'm going to do. Finally, I'm going to... How long have I had this? I've been looking forward to opening this Darth Vader since I got it. DorksideToys.com. And someone else sent me the other one. I don't know if this is the one that was plaguing collectors for not having a very secure head. It's like a ball joint head. Great points of articulation on this one. It's got two lightsabers. This one, classic lightsaber, which fully lit, and then one that's not lit, not illuminated lightsaber. The husk. What do they call this? Can I get it in focus? Is it in focus? Yay! I got my hand in focus. Oh, speaking of, you might have remembered the video Ryan versus Dorkman. Apparently, one of the people involved with that, who's pretty much a master lightsaber person, he was a part of an accident. Basically, a car jumped a curb and pinned him to a wall, and he's got outrageous medical bills. I ended up tweeting it out because I think it was someone named Owen had reached out to me and said, "Hey, this has happened. Can you help spread the word?" So there's a GoFundMe page. Yeah, this is the one. This is the Vader that has a problem with the head. Sorry, not trying to make a that was a very awkward segue. A GoFundMe project for one of the people who's involved with Ryan versus Dorkman, which you've probably seen by now. But yeah, that's something that I wish them well and hope they're able to kind of get past that. Certainly, I know what it's like to have medical bills. I got to pay my own health insurance. Thank you very much, and it's not fun. So. Yeah, apparently this is the one that's been giving people problems. My Vader, I just barely touched the guy. I barely touched him. Okay, if you take the cape off, it's not too bad, but man, that's really bad. Good points of articulation, decent. The Vader, the sculpt looks great. The paint job looks fantastic. But unfortunately, I'd have to give this one a failing grade, if only because seconds. I turn the head and it pops off. That's not a good sign. Let me see if I can get the cape back on. I think it was yakface.com that ended up making me aware that it was a problem. That was like, oh no, don't say that, because otherwise the Vader's great, except his head doesn't want to stay on. I'd say that is a fatal flaw there with the quality, overall quality. I'm trying to get the head back on. The problem is that the cape makes it such that I can't get the. Man, I'm not gonna dwell on this. I swear I'm not gonna dwell on this. Or maybe I will for a second longer. Give me a second. I almost have it back on. All right, there we go. All right, so once you get past that problem, theoretically, it's a good Vader. Fantastic sculpt when the head's on. I am your Vader. And decent. Just be careful with this guy's head. Number 26 has a very bad head. Which is bad. Good points of articulation, types of articulation, in just about every way. except the head. Why did they? I think they went with a new manufacturer on this one. Wouldn't be surprised if there was not just a repack of the sculpt, but specifically of this particular figure in a refresh where they address that being a problem. Because that's the great part is that the head can swivel around in like 84 different directions seemingly, but that's also the problem is that it's prone to popping off. I don't think I'm going to glue it down or anything. I kind of geek out over figures. I watched one kid in the UK talk about this particular Darth Vader for like 10 minutes. And I hadn't opened it yet, but he didn't even mention this. This is kind of it was disappointing that he didn't mention that as a problem. The guy from yakface.com did though. I follow Star Wars news more closely than I do tech news. I admit it. Look, you can even make Vader do the splits. Now that's look. Can you? It's hard to. I'm sorry. Here, look at Vader. Look at him there. I've got his legs are splayed out there. Thank you, Darth Vader. Thank you. I'm going to move on now. And by moving on, I mean moving on to the next video I need to record. This is going to be the Q&A with you and me. I do 5 of these videos every week. Today's is exclusive to the Super Gnomies. If I can get the lightsaber in there. Okay, Vader, can you be back here? Can you keep your head on? Keep your head on. Just keep it on. Because the video I'm going to do today is something in relation to the decision that Ballmer made to have his team no longer use iPads. I've got some thoughts on that in a separate video. Thoughts that are a bit different from when I spoke to this last week during the AMA. By the way, I'm still moving forward on the podcast, figuring out the nuances around that. That's going to be a lot less formal, really no agenda, just me answering questions and talking into a microphone throughout the day. So stay tuned for that as well. Thank you again for being you. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're happy. Hope you know that someone out there does care about you. If you care about me, hey, I care about you. That's how it works. Thank you for being yourself, and hopefully you found your happiness. And if not, you're well on your way. At this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.